Episode 09. All that she had thought disappeared from her mind. Islamabad. He looked at Salah in disbelief. And what? I'm going to the weekend. And what? Salah said in a very normal manner. And what? But how can I go too? She stopped helplessly. And what? Your father has forbidden you not to bring me to Islamabad with you. And what? Then Salah interrupted him. And what? Yes. And they are saying that if I want to bring you with me, then bring me. And what? He said with great fluency. She kept looking at his face. And what? My family can find out. And what? He finally said after a long silence. And what? We will find out today or tomorrow. And what? Salah said in this way. And what? It is not possible to keep it hidden in you all your life. He said seriously. And what? Your family has told people in your bar that you have settled abroad after marriage. Now, after so many years, they will be embarrassed if they leave you. Sir, I don't think they will. He was confident. And what? You don't know them. They won't keep quiet. If they find out. And what? She was getting worried. And what? They will sometimes go in the morning, go quietly and do a jaya. And what? Dude. They will not socialize as much. And what? She was surprised by his indifference. And what? If they don't find out, they will take me. They will beat me. And what? And what? She was being spiritual. And what? Assume Imam. If by chance they find out in your bar or someone takes a look at you here in Lahore, do you suffer any harm? And what? And what? I don't know. I will never go out. And what? He said blankly. And what? You won't die like this. And what? He suddenly saw her face. His eyes had the compassion of Christ. And what? I'm used to it, Salah. Breathing so much. I don't care. And what? When she did not work, she did not leave the house for months. I have been in Lahore for so many years, but I have only seen the city, parks and restaurants from outside while traveling on the road or on TV and newspapers. If I go to these places now, I will not understand what to do with me. When I was in Multan, there was no other place in my life except the hostel and the college. After coming to Lahore, here too, first university and home. And now home. All other places seem strange to me. Once a month, I used to go with them to a bar in a small market near Saeed Ahmed's house. That was my only outing. There was a bookshop. I used to take boxes from there for the whole month. Spending time with a book is easy. And what? She does not know why she was told. And what? Yes. Passing the time is easy, living is not. And what? And what? He craned his neck once more. And saw him. He was making a video. And what? I don't care, sir. And what? And what? And what? I know the difference. And the big difference. And what? Salah interrupted him involuntarily. And what? I want to live a normal life, like you used to have. And what? Don't you want it all to end? He asked her. And what? Life is abnormal, but I am safe. And what? And what? Salah involuntarily spread his arms over her shoulders. And what? You will still be safe. Trust me. It won't happen. My family can protect you, and if your family finds out that you are my wife, it won't be so easy for them. And what? To harm You. Whatever it is, open it once. You keep it hidden like this, and if they find out somehow, they can do you some harm. In that case, I will not be able to do anything even by going to the police. They will flatly deny that you have been missing for 9 years and they don't know where you are. She was silent. And what? What are you thinking? And what? Salah noticed his silence as he spoke. And what? I didn't want to marry you. I didn't want to marry anyone. I put you in trouble with me. And what? Not checked. She was extremely upset. And what? Yes, it is really unfair if you marry someone else, but I don't care. I have abused and badmouthed your family before, and still do. He said with great carelessness. And what? Then book the seat, you two. And what? He was real. She was sitting quietly. And what? Kacha nahi huga imam. Mark my word. And what? Salah comforted him by raising one hand from the steering wheel and spreading it on his shoulder. And what? You are not a saint. And what? He said in frustration. He laughed uncontrollably while removing his arm from her shoulder. And what? Well, when did I say that I am a wali? And what? I may not even be human. And what? At his sentence, he craned his neck and looked at him. She was now looking through the window screen. And what? It won't happen. He felt the imam's gaze on his face. And what? That's what Papa wants. We came there. And what? Imam did not say anything in response this time. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. This evening Salah found Dr. Sabat Ali and his wife to be serious, and he did not understand any reason for this seriousness. Imam was also completely silent during the meal, but he understood her silence to be the result of the gossip in the room. He was sitting in the lounge drinking tea when actor Sabat Ali raised this topic. And what? Salah. And what? Imam has few complaints from you. He snapped, taking a sip of tea. If actor Sabat Ali had not said this, he would have considered it a joke. He saw Dr. Sabat Ali in a state of surprise, then Imam, who was sitting next to him. He put the cup of tea on his lap. He was staring at the tea. The first thought in his mind was the story that happened in the car, but when did Imam tell the actor about the story that happened in the car? They were very surprised. And what? Gee, and what? He put the cup back on the shelf. Imam is unhappy with your behavior. Actor Sabat Ali said the next sentence. Salah thought, there is something wrong in listening to him. And what? Yes. And what? He said helplessly. I don't understand. And what? And what? You make fun of Imam. He was looking at actor Sabat Ali without batting an eyelid, breathing hard. After a few moments, he saw Imam. Imam said to you, he said to Dr. Sabat Ali, looking at him with disbelief. And what? Yeah, you don't talk to him right. And what? And what? Salah craned his neck and looked at Imam once again. She was still watching. Imam said this to you too. And what? As it is becoming clear in 4 ways. Actor Sabat Ali shook his head. Salah involuntarily bit the corner of his lip and placed the cup of tea on the center table. His mind was completely confused. It was one of the most disturbing moments of his life. Imam looked at the steam rising from the cup of tea and cleared his throat in a world of immense shame and remorse. And what? And what? What was happening? It was not the desire of the Imam, it was stupidity, but the arrow came out of the bow. And they do not inform him as you say. After fighting, he went to Saida's sister. And quote. The old man first saw Kulthum auntie, then Dr. Sabat Ali, then Imam. If the sky had fallen on him, he would not have been in this condition at that time. And quote. Whoa. I have no problems, he began to say, barely controlling his senses. And Imam himself said to me that she wants to stay at Saida Imam's house, and I will tell you the previous 4 days. He stopped talking. He heard the sobbing of the Imam. She involuntarily moved her neck and looked at Imam. She was rubbing her nose. Kulthum auntie and the actor are also attracted towards him. Salah could not continue talking. Kulthum auntie got up and came to him and started comforting him. He remained a child. Dr. Sabat Ali asked the employee to bring water. Salah's little understanding was not coming, but at that time there was no time to give his sanity and explain. He kept looking at her silently and thinking, he is a trace of an owl, because the signals from his sense of the past 4 days were giving again and again, they were exactly right. He just showed complacency and indifference. After 5 to 10 minutes, everything was back to normal. The actor explained to Salah for almost half an hour. He was listening to them while shaking his head in silence. Bethi Imam was very sorry for this. After that, it was difficult to face Salah alone. No one could have understood it better. After half an hour, he left the airport and sat in the car. Imam heard this while leaving the gate of actor Sabat Ali's house. And quote. I'm not sure. And quote. I can't be sure. And quote. He expected the same reaction from him. She was extremely nervous as she yawned looking at the road through the windscreen. And quote. I make fun of you. I don't talk to you properly. I leave without telling you. You visited Saeed Amami's house. Did you talk to these people? And quote. Imam looked at him helplessly. If he didn't use the word and quote. Jock and quote. It wouldn't look so bad. And quote. I didn't say anything. And quote. And quote. He said with extreme embarrassment. And quote. Am I making fun of you? And quote. Salah's voice became sharp. And quote. You called my habit of sleeping in the dark this night and quote. Strange and quote. He kept looking at her face in disbelief. And quote. Wah sarcasm? And quote. That was just one thing. And quote. And quote. But I didn't feel good. He said blankly. And quote. You also called my habit of sleeping in the light as a wonder. And quote. He remained silent all this time. Salah was really getting very angry. And quote. And I don't talk to you properly. He came to the next charge. And quote. I was impressed. He said defensively. And quote. Put it. They were more confused. And quote. You just. And quote. Looked and quote. And you said to the actor. And quote. And quote. I didn't say anything to them. Saeed Ahmad said everything. He explained. He could not speak for a few moments of shock. And quote. That is, you have told him all this too. And quote. He remained silent. He bit his lip. The reason for a flat Saeed Ahmad's absence that night was coming to an understanding. And quote. And I am called. Which I did not tell you about. Salah remembered. And quote. You told me the time of the trip. And quote. Salah saw his face. Imam. I go to the mosque this time with Furqan. After that he comes to the gym and then back home. May I tell you about the mosque? That was Janjalaya. And quat. I don't know why you go so early in the morning. And quat. I have to be upset. Imam said. On his explanation, he became more angry. And quat. What do you think I can say at the time of Suri in Ramadan? And quat. Any nightclub. Or meeting a girlfriend. Any fool can know where I can go. He took a bad look at the words of the fool. And quat. Okay, I'm really stupid. That's it. And quat. And quat. And you said about living in Saeed Amami's house. Which station? And who did you meet? And quat. He remained silent. And quat. What was the need for you to say so much? And quat. This time she became calm about it. And quat. Don't lie to me again and again. And quat. And quat. Imam. Joe, it's a situation. I'll call it a situation. You did not show me in front of the doctor. Will he be sleeping in my bar? He was really upset. And quat. All right. Finish everything. And quat. He saw a single tear on Imam's cheek and he cried badly. And quat. We are talking about the issue, Imam. And quat. There is no need to cry. And quat. She was crying. And quat. This is not right, Imam. You did the same thing with Mira at the actor's house. And quat. His anger started to cool down, but the confusion grew. Whatever it was her wedding day and she was queuing for the second time in an hour. If any girl was crying in his place, he would be upset. She was a good Imam. He fell involuntarily soft. Throwing his arm over her shoulder, she tried to silence him. Imam took out a tissue paper from the tissue box lying on his sack, rubbed his reddened nose and splashed water on Salah's peace efforts. And quat. That's why I don't want to marry you. And quat. I knew you would treat me like this. He was silent for a moment on her sentence, then he said, removing his hand from her shoulder. And quat. What kind of behavior? Will you explain? And quat. And quat. What have I been doing with you lately? And quat. He said again. And quat. She started crying with hiccups once again. Salah closed his eyes helplessly. If he was not doing the radio, he would have grabbed his head. Nothing happened the rest of the way. After a while she finally got quiet. Salah breathed a sigh of relief. Nothing happened between Akar and Dunov, even in the apartment. She sat on a sofa in the lounge instead of going to the bedroom. Salah went to the bedroom. She changed clothes and came to the bedroom, but she did not come in. And quat. Good. Let him sit down and sleep in your bed for a while. And quat. He thought as he lay on his bed. He wanted to sleep and he did not turn off the lights in the bedroom, but sleep disappeared from his eyes. Now it is okay to think. But what to think? After 5 more minutes passed, he was dismayed when he did not appear. After 2 more minutes he came out of the bedroom. She was sitting in a corner of the lounge sofa, feet up, cushions in her lap. Salah breathed a sigh of relief. At least she was not crying this time. When Salah came into the lounge, he did not even look up to see him. She kept pulling the cushion in her lap like this. He sat next to her on the sofa. Keeping the cushion aside, Imam tried to get up from the sofa. Salah stopped him by holding his arm. This is Beth, he said to her in a commanding manner. He considered raising his arm for a moment, then changed his mind. She fell again, but she removed Salah's arm from her arm. And quote, it's not my fault. But I'm sorry. And quote, this began the first attempt at reconciliation. Imam looked at him with confusion but did not say anything. He waited for her to speak for a while, but then he realized that she had no intention of accepting his apology at the moment. And quote, why do you think I'm not talking to you properly? And quote, Imam, I am talking to you, he said at her silence. And quote, you keep ignoring me. And quote, after a moment's pause, he said again. And quote, Agna, he went to Bunochka. And quote, ignore you. And quote, you and quote, continue to ignore. Can I and quote, and quote. He said in disbelief. Imam did not agree with this. And quote, how can you even think? I married you to and quote, ignore and quote, you. I'm still so sick of ignoring you. And quote, but you keep doing it and quote. She was on her point. And quote, you say one thing with your tongue, but you, and quote. She stopped talking. Moisture started to swim in his eyes. And quote, I have no importance in your life. And quote, don't wait. Keep saying, I want to know what I am doing that makes you misunderstand me so much. And quote, he said, very seriously considering the moisture in his eyes. And quote, I didn't tell you when I went to the mosque in the morning. I didn't tell you when I went to the office. And quote, what did he do? To begin with, and quote, he said. And quote, you didn't even tell me that you will be late for iftar. And quote, you can come early if you want. He stopped. And quote, and Salah said without any explanation. And quote, I texted you as you said but you didn't call me back. And quote, you can also take me on an airplane to receive or visit my parents, but you didn't ask me. Well, I asked you to visit Saeed Amami's house, but you never once asked me to go with you. How disrespected I was in front of them. And quote, she was saying with many tears. He was looking at her for a moment without batting an eyelid. Water started flowing not only from his eyes, but also from his nose. She was crying with all her heart. Salah took out a tissue paper from the tissue box of the center table and held it up. He shook her hand and took out a tissue paper. He rubbed his nose, not his eyes. And quote, and Salah said once again with great patience. She wanted to say that he did not give her any wedding gift. He had a penchant for it, but he found it insulting to mention the gift. He did not mention the gift. For a while she was rubbing her nose, crying with Sasuke. Salah finally asked him, Uchiha and quote, Bas or a B Kachcha and also crime are dead. And quote, I knew you died after marriage. And quote, Salah did it. And quote, I will do this with. I know, you already know everything in my bar. And quote, he was angry at his sentence. And quote, in spite of this, you will give me a chance to say something now. And quote, she kept rubbing her nose while sitting quietly. And quote, if I could come early from the office on the next day of the wedding, I would have come. And quote, you came for your parents. And quote, Imam intervened. And quote, I didn't have a presentation today and I called you. Not once, many times. You show your cell phone or show me. Salah said in a challenging manner. And quote, You didn't answer my message, did you? And what? And what? And what? I was in the meeting at that time. I didn't have my cell. I called you in the first call after leaving Rome, but you did not pay attention to receiving. I also called you at Saeed Ahmed's house. You did the same there. Instead you turned off the cell. So I wanted to be angry too. I wanted to say that you were ignoring me. But I didn't. I didn't even think about that. He was now seriously understanding it. And what? You can't take it with you to the airport. And what? There is one side of airport. In the middle is my office. And the other side is home. I come here first, pick you up and then go to airport. It takes double time. And take you and go to airport. Receipt was not necessary. He stopped for a moment and then said, and what? Should I complain to you? And what? And what? Imam looked up and saw him. And what? You decided to stay at Saeed Ahmed's house, without even bothering to ask me. And what? And what? There was a new flood in his eyes. And what? I thought, you won't let me live there, but you are tired of me. And what? You didn't ask me out even once. And what? Salah took a deep breath. And what? What did I know? And what? I thought your wish, I must fulfill. It's okay, I was wrong. I wanted to tell you to walk, but at least you wanted to come outside to say God save me. I have been waiting in the court for 15 minutes but you have not bothered to come out even for a moment. And what? And what? I was angry, so I didn't come. And what? And what? There is no formality in displeasure, isn't it? And what? He remained silent. And what? You objected to me not going there because of Furqan. It was the opposite of desire. I felt bad, but I did not force you to accept my words. He paused for a moment. And what? Furqan is my closest friend. Farkan and Barbie have always taken care of me and it is not acceptable for me that my wife does not respect this family. And what? He said, watching another stream of floods come into his eyes. Imam did not give any explanation this time. And what? I didn't even ask you that you didn't call my parents even once to ask if they arrived well or if their flight was okay. And what? He said patiently. She was excited. And what? I don't have his number. And what? And what? And what? You take it from me if you are really interested in talking to them. And what? If they pick you up, you become so responsible that you don't ask them about their flight or talk to them after they leave. And what? And what? So you tell me. Why didn't he say, and what? And what? I didn't say that. Because I don't have any issues. These are normal things. These are not issues that I am angry with you about. He could not speak. And what? But what did you do? You kept preparing a case against me. Keeping every little thing in your heart. I did not complain. But told everything to Saida Ahmed. And actor Sa. B also. By talking to someone else first you wanted to talk to me. Didn't you? And what? Her tears stopped. He understood it with great tolerance. And what? If I didn't listen to you, there was another thing. Then you tell anyone. I don't mind. He remained silent. There was nothing wrong with him. And what? You are not sleeping. I am going to leave the house telling you. But I am going to stay in the house just to tell a sleeping person. I can never do that. And what? He could not speak. And what? Agna. I am surprised Imam How did this idea come to your mind? I am in heaven for 4 days and 7 days and you are saying, I am ignoring you. And quote. But you didn't give me a single compliment. And quote. Imam remembered another. And quote. Mistake and quote. Salah looked at him with surprise. And quote. Definition of what? And quote. He asked in surprise. And quote. This was an extremely stupid question, but this question embarrassed the Imam. And quote. Tell me too. And quote. She was evil in a bad way. And quote. How are you? And quote. Salah guessed a little confused. She was more surprised. And quote. When I'm talking, be nice. Appreciate anything. My clothes. And quote. He said yes, but she regretted complaining. Salah's answer. Questions embarrassed him badly. Salah took a deep breath and laughed uncontrollably after seeing her for one look, then her clothes. Imam. You are asking me to define myself. He said, laughing. It was a joke to him. She was taken in a bad way. And quote. Don't. I said. And quote. No, you're right. And quote. I really haven't appreciated you for anything yet. I wanted to. And quote. He is one. And quote. He became serious. Imam. You are asking me to define myself. He said, laughing. It was a joke to him. She was taken in a bad way. And quote. Don't. I said. And quote. No, you're right. And quote. I really haven't appreciated you for anything yet. I wanted to. He became serious. He felt the shame of Imam. Spreading his arm on his shoulder, he brought Imam closer to him. This time Imam did not shake his hand. His tears had stopped. Salah took her hand with his other hand. He said, caressing her hand with great tenderness. And quote. Such complaints are there where it is only for a few days. But when it is a matter of a lifetime, it all becomes very secondary. And quote. He was very gentle with her. And quote. Marriage to you meant a lot to me. And quote. Was. And quote. And means a lot. And quote. But the future will also mean a little more. It depends on you. Do what you want from me, not from others. I only have to answer you, Imam. Not in front of anyone else. And quote. He tried to explain a lot to her in the words that were so vague. And quote. We are never friends, but there is more openness and frankness in our relationship than friends. Why is the marriage relationship weakening him? And quote. Imam looked up and saw his face. There was the same seriousness in his eyes as in his words. He nodded once more. And quote. He was not wrong. And quote. His heart admitted. And quote. You are more important than anyone and anything in my life. Salah said, emphasizing his words. And quote. But you won't be able to say this in one sentence every day. It does not mean that your importance to me has decreased. Your importance in my life is not in my hand anymore. It is in your hand. It is up to you to decide whether you will increase or decrease this importance over time. After listening to him, Imam's gaze fell on the back of his hand with which he was supporting his hand. The back of his hand was extremely smooth. Back of hand and wrist are equivalent to having no hair. The fingers of the hand were long like the fingers of a painting and thin compared to the hands of a common man. The green and blue veins on the backs of his hands were very visible. There was a faint mark of a wristwatch on his wrist. He must have worn a wristwatch very regularly. She was looking at his hand for the first time today. He felt her hands very well. His heart is small and waxy. His attention was said. Salah could not guess. He understood this very seriously. And quote, love or marriage does not mean that both partners start holding each other in their fists. And quote, this does not make the relationship strong. It starts to falter. It is very important to give space to another, to acknowledge another's individuality, to respect another's right to voice. And quote. Imam craned his neck and saw his face. He was extremely serious. And quote. If we both keep looking at the faults and shortcomings of the other, very soon our hearts will lose respect and respect for each other. And quote. No matter how much a relationship is built with love, if honor and respect are lost, then love will also be lost. And quote. Imam looked at him with great surprise. He smiled, seeing the surprise in her eyes. And quote. Good philosophy, isn't it? And quote. And quote. Imam's eyes were moist and the smile on his lips was back. He nodded in confirmation. Salah called him closer to his house. And quote. I am not a perfect servant of Allah, so how can I be your perfect husband, Imam? And quote. May Allah consider my shortcoming, so forgive me too. And quote. She was looking at his face in surprise. She was really unfamiliar with Sikandar. Salah gently touched the swollen eyelids of his eyes with his palm. And quote. What have you done to your eyes? Don't you feel sorry for me? And quote. And quote. He used to say with great gentleness. Instead of answering, Imam put his head on his chest. She was calm, with one arm around her and the other hand brushing the hair off her face and neck. He noticed for the first time that she felt better after crying. But speaking of it, on your feet. The axe was a killer thing. She was not focused on him. She was imperceptibly wearing a pattern on her nightgown. And quote. The mauve color looks good on you. And quote. He said, taking a look at her head. In a very romantic way. His hand moved on his chest and stopped. Imam raised his head and saw him. Salana saw the sadness in his eyes. He smiled. And quote. Defining and quote. Tamhari. And quote. And quote. This is punk. And quote. And quote. And quote. Oh. Good. Salah looked at his clothes again with a big smile. And quote. Is this punk? And quote. I actually haven't seen anyone wear mauve in a long time. Salah explained. And quote. I wore it yesterday. Imam's eyes widened. But I thought it was purple. And quote. Salah more and more. And quote. That painting on the front wall is of purple flowers. And quote. Imam tried to show some tolerance. Salah, looking at this painting, could not tell that he considered these flowers to be any shade of blue color. Imam Abu's face was seen. Salah took a deep breath in a somewhat desperate manner. And quote. Mr. Guess what? I'm going to have to keep a shade car in my pocket to make this marriage work. He grew up looking at painting. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. It was the first morning when his eyes opened. Earlier than the year, 10 minutes before the alarm set time. She was lying in the bed like this. For a few minutes. I don't know what time it is. Picking up the big alarm clock on the bedside table, he turned off the alarm while looking at the time. She got up carefully and sat in bed. Carefully switching on the side table lamp, he put on the slippers, then turned off the side table lamp as he opened it. Then he saw the Salah's side lamp turning on. They woke up at some time. Imam had no idea. And quote, I know you are sleeping. And quote, he said while answering Salah's greeting. And quote, I just got up because of the 8 in the room. And quote. He was lying down looking at his cell phone like this. But I didn't make any sound. I'm trying not to bother you. Imam Kacha was surprised. And quote, my sleep is not too deep, Imam. And quote, I wake up even if there is a slight rustle in the room. He took a deep breath and placed the cell on the side table. And quote, I will be careful in the future. And quote, he said in a somewhat apologetic manner. And quote, not necessarily, I'm used to sleeping that way. And quote, I don't care. He put another pillow on the bed and put it under his head. And closed his eyes. She watched him for a few moments before going to the washroom. Every human being is like a book. An open book that anyone can read. Salah was also an open book for him, but a book written in Chinese language. On this day he and Salah gathered sari and did not go with Salah Furqan like every day. He was probably trying to redress the grievances of Danu in the past. Imam's speech became very good that night and his attention made it even better. He informed her for the first time today before going to the mosque. Imam, don't wait for me. Go to sleep after praying. I will come quite late. And he urged her to go, but she ignored his insistence and sat waiting for him. She slept after leaving her office at 8 o'clock. Again his eyes opened at the sound of the bell at 11 o'clock. Closing his eyes in sleep, he left the bedroom and opened the inner door of the apartment. A 45-year-old woman greeted him with a very curious look. And Noshan Baji has sent me. He introduced himself. Imam suddenly remembered that he had asked the employee to send Nushan the next day instead of yesterday to clean it. She walked away from the door after giving him the right. And I was so happy when Nushan Baji told me that Salah Saheb's wife has arrived. I don't know when Mr. Salah got married. And the servant who came in behind Imam started talking. And where do you start cleaning? And Imam did not immediately understand what instructions he gave about cleaning. And Baji? And don't think I will do it. You can sleep peacefully. The employee immediately offered. Perhaps, he said, looking at her sleepy eyes. And no. You start cleaning from the lounge. I'm coming now. And Afar wasn't bad. She was really sleepy, but she couldn't sleep because she was working around the house like this. In the washroom, she splashed water on her face, changed her clothes, curled her hair and came out to the lounge. The employee was engaged in a sting. The blinds in the lounge were now drawn. The sun was not yet fully out, but it was equal to the absence of fog. Seeing the plants outside the living room kitchen, he thought of watering them. The employee wanted to start the conversation once again, but she became silent when she saw him going towards the balcony. When she finished giving water to the students, after cleaning the lounge, the employee had gone to the room of Salah, which he used as a study room. Salah Sahib is a great and good human being. And after cleaning the apartment for about an hour, Imam asked him for tea. After drinking tea, the employee started talking to him again. Imam only smiled at his comment and became silent. And quote, "Aren't you like them too?" And quote. The employee made his first guess about it. And quote. "Well, Salah doesn't speak either." And quote. Imam tried to talk about this subject. And quote. Said, "Hamid also says this about Sahib." And quote. The employee probably took the name of Salah's employee. "But Baji, there is great life in the eyes of your man." And quote. He looked at the employee's expression as if he was extremely surprised. The employee was speaking very seriously. And quote. "As Farkan Sahib is, so is the custom of Salah Sahib." And quote. "Mr. Furkan is very young. But Mr. Salah used to live alone. Never clean like this in a group with only one person. I have seen the big world, but the master never saw me working here. I used to think many times that there will be a very lucky woman who will come to this house." And quote. The employee was speaking loudly. Half a drawer on the couch in front of the heater was lost in a thought listening to him. The employee was surprised that Baji was not happy with her husband's compliment. And quote. Baji and quote. Was happy. At least that much was expected of him because he could not even be with a woman working in the house. He is the worst kind of human being. He who works at home needs will also be considered, and Salah could not be counted among this category of people. The employee, annoyed by his constant silence, quickly finished drinking tea. When Imam went to close the door behind him, the employee turned and said to him before going out, and quote, "Baji, and quote, will you come home soon?" And quote. The Imam stopped. There was definitely an expression on his face that made the employee a bit confused. And quote. Baji, and quote. I have to take my little baby to the hospital, sir, I was saying. He said quickly. And quote. Yes, that's right. And quote. And quote. Imam said with difficulty and closed the door. She was not silenced by the demands of tomorrow to come quickly, but by his 3 words. And quote. Your house, and quote. And quote. His house, and quote. For which she was so impatient. Was how many times did she go after Jalal answer in the hope of which? She stared in disbelief at the walls in the lounge that the world knew as and quote. Her house, and quote. It was really her house. There was no place of refuge where she was being grateful and benevolent for so many years. There was a trace of tears in his eyes. Sometimes people don't understand whether they are crying or laughing. Crying. How much you cry. Laughing. How much you laugh. It's still the same in some quality. She was staying. She used to open the door of every room like a child and go from one place to another. She could go there. Whatever she wanted. It was her house. There is no and quote. Non-territory and quote. For this. All she wanted was a world of her own. Some place where she could live with privilege. Salah followed like a tail. Every man goes after the woman in the household affairs. Salah called him twice on the cell, but Imam did not receive. Salah called PTCL for the 3rd time. Again Imam answered, but after hearing his voice, Salah guessed. Yatake she was crying. His voice sounded full. He was very upset. And quote. What happened? And quote. And quote. And quote. No way. And quote. And quote. She on the other hand was trying to control her tears and voice. And quote. Why are you crying? And quote. And quote. Salah really has no idea why she is crying. The night ended on a very happy note. She came to the door, smiling to see him off in the morning. Then, he was confused. On the other hand, Imam did not understand what justification he should give for his crying. She couldn't tell that she was crying because someone called her an housewife and Salah could not understand this. No man could understand. And I miss you, Mom and Dad. Salah involuntarily took a deep breath. The reason was coming to the understanding. They are calm at once. She was completely silent. Mother had mentioned father, Duke said, but now another reason like crying was found. The tears that were there before, they started to rain once again. For a while, he kept listening to her sobs and hiccups on the phone. He used to head investment banking in this foreign bank. A small investment scam could be caught. A bailout plan could be prepared for a large company going into losses. Preparing merger packages for companies was his left-hand job. He could predict the trends of the world stock market with a point-day percentage of precision. With difficulty, he managed to settle the business with the capitalist, but within a week of the wedding, he realized that he would not be able to keep Imam from crying. I could find the reason for his tears. No, there are ways to stop them. He was absolutely brilliant in the field. Did the employee clean the house today? And after a long silence, he chose the topic and sentence to divert Imam's attention from crying. He was stupid. As Imam is not sure whether he remembers his mother and father, Salah asks him. While listening to all of Salah's lectures of the previous night, he hit the receiver cradle and as soon as the phone was disconnected, Salah realized his wrong choice of words. Staring at the dark screen of his cell, he took a deep breath. For the next 5 minutes he sat with the cell in his hand. She knew that she would not receive the call. After 5 minutes he called again. Unexpectedly, Imam received the call. This time there was sadness in his voice, but it was not filled. She must have stopped crying. And I'm sorry. And Salah said, hearing his voice. Imam did not answer. She was not listening to his apology at that time. She was trying to find an answer to only one thing. Why was she angry with Salah? On a small note, in so many years the one feeling she had completely forgotten was the feeling of anger. This feeling was alien to him. For so many years, he did not complain to anyone except Allah. Being angry with someone or showing disappointment to someone is a very far thing. But why did the feeling wake up inside him? Saeed Armour, actor Sabat Ali and his family. His classmates, colleagues. None of them were ever angry with him. Yes, sometimes there was a complaint, but that complaint could never choose the form of words. Then what was happening? And Imam, please say something. And he's surprised. And it's time for prayer. I have to pray. And he laid the egg in the same place I said to him. And you are not hidden. And Salah asked him. And no. And he said in a soft voice. She was looking for an answer to the same question until long after the prayer, and she got the answer. In 9 years, she heard someone's expression of love for her for the first time. She was in the crowd of benefactors, coming in the presence of a benefactor for the first time. Laughter, complaints, tears, anger, sadness, all this is not how he and knows. And That when she cries, he will ignore her. When she is upset, he will explain it, believe it or guess. But whatever it wasn't wrong. In so many years, the dirt that had accumulated inside it was coming out like a lava. Slowly, she was becoming normal. In the evening, Salah was surprised to see him in a happy mood. To be continued.